in the same room with each other this morning.
This is not your eyes fooling you. Like, this is what's going on right now.
I don't know.
We're together.
I know.
It's great.
It's amazing. I'm so excited. And I don't know if people know, but we actually, like, we're in business together. We're like BFFs, but also we live an hour apart. So we actually don't get to see each other as often as we would like. So it feels like really special. Lindsay drove all the way up to Brewster to my house today. And it feels a little bit like it looks like we have like a movie set behind us, but this is my literal fireplace.
Yeah. We're in Liz's house. It's great.
This is my living room. So for those who don't know us, I'm Liz.
I'm Lindsay.
And we are the women of Rising Tide Women. And what do? We do so much.
We do a lot. But the short version is we provide birth classes, we do birth doula support, we do breastfeeding support, and postpartum support. And then within all of that, there's a whole lot of other little bits and pieces that you can get with us in person and also via our lifeboat program where you can basically get all of your education and love and video chats with us from the comfort of your own home. And we think it's a great alternative.
Yeah, and I want to put in a plug for our lifeboat program because our next round is starting on Monday. So we have this group of pregnant women. They're all due in December or January. So if you know someone who is due in December or January, this is like their last chance to hop in on this. And it's this really cool program, if you're not familiar with it, where basically it's a program, but we don't really like to call it that. So basically we have a Facebook group for the group. It's secret. So it's just us. People have access to the both of us to ask birth, pregnancy, breastfeeding questions, all of that. We do a live call every other week, and also you get an email every week. So it's like, and basically built into all of that is like your birth education, breastfeeding, prenatal education. There's a whole lot of like journaling prompts. So we kind of talk about the emotional process of pregnancy and birth and then postpartum. So that's the cool part of this program is it actually carries you from mid-pregnancy through birth and then into 4 months postpartum. So we really want to wrap that support around our people during we say perinatal period, which is like the period around birth, but nobody else knows what that means.
Right.
So.
And with that, we want to be accessible and inclusive to everyone. So a lot of our language it's on everybody's level, and not everything is all, there's a lot of real talk along with the inspiration and the affirmation and all of that, but there's a lot of honesty in it too, and we want to just create that place where you can be yourself and be your pregnant self and be your postpartum self. And you're in a very small private group, which helps. And what I love is that you do get birth education in there. So it's a great way for those that just can't squeeze in a birthing class with us to get solid information.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
Yeah. And because it's all online, you don't have to be local, and it's less expensive than having us come to your house. So, so just, I just want to give a shout out to that. If you want to find out more details, we have it on our website at risingtidewomen.com/lifeboat. And, so go check it out, reach out to us if you have questions, and share with somebody who is due in December and January. And yes, my dinosaur shirt is back. I love this shirt.
I love that shirt too. So today, what we have planned to discuss is birth. And I know.
Just the whole thing.
Right? Like all of it. we'd be here forever.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody.
We could talk about this for 100 years.
For 100, and until the dinosaurs come back, which
I hope
we know.
Soon.
You want the dinosaurs back.
I mean, we've all seen Jurassic Park, though. It's not a good idea.
No, it isn't. But anyway,
Okay.
well, we want to talk to you about what love has to do with birth, which then makes me start singing the Tina Turner song. So I hope that you all now have that earworm for the day. But what does love have to do with birth? And if you feel like you're going to suddenly run away from this live chat because you're like, oh God, they're going to talk about like peace, love, and pushing babies out.
I feel like we should get our it's peaceful.
Right.
You know.
No, like
we love
please
that,
stay with us.
But also, I mean, you know us. We're not going to do that.
No, because we know the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
But we also know how love and that feeling of love, number one, helps you feel better during your birth.
Yeah.
And also helps your baby to feel better, or your babies, and helps the whole process move along at a smoother pace.
Yeah.
And the smoother things go, the less time you're in labor, the less time you are at the hospital. And hopefully that means you're home sooner if you chose to have your baby in a hospital or a birth center. And otherwise, you heal faster. Okay, there's a lot of science behind it.
We're going to get a little bit sciencey today.
A little sciencey.
In an accessible way, easily
Right.
digestible. This is my dog is saying
hi. In a very digestible way. But we just want you to get an idea of why this is important.
Yeah. And the reason we're really talking about this is we kind of had this conversation where we were both like, I wish somebody had told me this. You know, I knew for my second birth, because I was already in the birth world, but for my first birth, I really I just wanted to get through it. And I think I had some ideas of what I wanted it to be like, what I wanted it to look like. But I think I also just assumed that I was going to feel super loved on and just it just never occurred to me that I might not, which I think is really common.
Right. Of course it's a given that everybody at the hospital, because that's where you and I both had our first babies. I had all three of mine in a hospital, and I just assumed that they're going to take great care of me and everybody's going to be really cool with me. And we're just going to do our thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I needed to tap a little bit more into the love side of things.
Yes. So, and it's just interesting. I think that it was just something that never occurred to me. I think also I was younger. I was at a point in my life where I didn't really realize the importance of feeling safe and feeling emotionally safe in a space where you're vulnerable. And I think that we often forget in our normal lives that birth and labor is a really vulnerable space. You are really, and emotionally, I mean, you are really you're a little bit raw, because you're so invested in bringing your baby earthside that you're just not really focused on anything else. And that goes for even, I had a scheduled C-section my first time out, and that was for me too. I was so invested in what was going to happen and all the logistics that I was not really thinking about the, emotionally caring for myself or having someone emotionally care for me.
Right. Which I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
Because when you are in labor, your focus is not where you could even dream it's going to be. I do the bulk of the birth work, and I chat with all sorts of couples, from those who want to plan every single detail to those that are really open to the process, and their bullet list of things they absolutely want are it's very concise and short, and I'm like, okay, I get it. But nobody ever puts on their birth vision that they want to be loved and that they want to feel safe. You know, we've got very concrete wishes, and I think that's awesome. That's and I want to work with all of those.
Yeah.
But I never see, I want my birth team to listen to me. And this is knowing that your birth veers off course.
Yeah. But I think people assume, oh my gosh,
the dog.
The
dog's just bumping into
He's just very excited to see Lindsay. He smells her dog. Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see Lindsay.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to let my butt wiggle too much. But I think we just take it as a given that we're going to be emotionally cared for. And I think that's why the work that you do is so important, this doula work. Like, you know, and when I'm in the room for a scheduled cesarean client, like we really are holding this space. We're really looking out for their emotional needs. And it's a role that, you know, it's not really the nurse's role. It's not really the doctor's role. It's often the partner's role. And they often don't really, they want to do it, and they're not sure how. And that's why it's helpful sometimes to have somebody whose training is to provide that. You know, I think that's one thing, our wheelhouse is emotional support. That's like, we will validate the heck out of you, you know?
We will answer your questions, and if we can't come up with an answer that is appropriate, like, you know, solid with information off the top of our head, we will go and find that answer for you. Make sure you understand what's going on whatever level you need at that time. Because again, when you're in labor, that brain is not operating at your norm now.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, it shouldn't be. You should be beginning to move to a distant land. We want you there.
Yeah. And
that's when I know that someone is really connecting with the experience. And when we're in labor, like Liz said, we are vulnerable. We are raw. Our emotional selves have cracked open. And we need to protect that space and that fragility. Not because you need saving, not because we don't think you can do it, but because in order for you to truly give birth to your baby in the way that most people first off say that they want to,
or in the way that you want to, whatever that may be.
In whatever way, but you need to know that you are safe and that you are free to be completely 100% yourself, where no one's going to be rolling their eyes behind your back going, oh my God, like, why is she making those noises? And why are they doing that? And all of that. And
makes us angry.
Feeling loved absolutely helps you to go where you need to go. And one of the things you're going to hear a lot about, whether you take your birth prep with us or through the Lifeboat program, you're going to hear the word oxytocin. And it's a really important word in what we do. And not everybody knows about it.
No, because why would you? Unless you are a birth nerd. Like, I feel like people are like, oh yeah. And some people know it's a hormone. So, and this is where it gets, I'm going to get a little sciencey because I love it. I'm a science nerd. But basically, you know, oxytocin is a hormone and it has a lot of jobs. So its primary job when we're not pregnant is that it kind of comes into play with like love and affection. And so basically, whenever you get like the warm fuzzies for your partner or for your puppy or like your sweet baby, those warm fuzzies is you're being flooded with oxytocin. And it's that warm fuzzy hormone, you know? So because we're birth nerds, when it's Valentine's Day, we're like, happy oxytocin day. Or is that just me? I assumed it was everyone. I don't know.
Well, now Now it's a thing. So
I'm gonna send you
watch out
cards.
around February.
Happy oxytocin.
Yes, we do. That was just really funny. That was awesome.
Being awkward, like I do.
That was great. That was great. Happy Oxy. I think every day should be Happy Oxytocin
I think so
Day.
too. It's good.
Maybe the cards just haven't come to my mailbox yet. Maybe you sent them to the wrong
Sorry.
address.
All right. Well, they're coming. What? Wait.
Great.
I'm gonna print them. I'm gonna sell them.
Now you will never forget what oxytocin.
What it does.
What it does. Warm fuzzies, and there's a holiday around it.
Yes, exactly. But when you're in labor, it actually is the hormone. It's also the hormone that produces those strong, regular contractions, which is what we really need to get baby out, you know? So, and it's really cool, actually, during labor and birth, you have the highest levels of oxytocin that you will ever have in your entire life, which I just think is like, it's kind of like not a super useful fact, but it's really cool.
But it also goes to show that Hollywood and mainstream pop culture and the stories that we're passing down to each other, you know who you are, be careful out there.
We've got it wrong.
We've got it wrong when we talk about birth, and we are sharing these stories of frantic labor and like anger and grabbing people by the throat saying, "You did this to me," and
which I've never seen happen in real life. P.S.
No,
like it doesn't really happen.
That doesn't happen. But we have this vision of what labor and birth looks like, and that all those things have nothing to do with love and safety and oxytocin. Now, I am not also saying that birth is this love fest where like everybody's like in bed together or doing things.
I've read those birth stories,
but
too.
I know they're. Well, yes, my God, like.
You've all read it.
Go look at our book list. I mean, and if that's your thing, like that's okay. But I'm gonna say, like for the most part, we don't see that.
Yeah.
However, when I do see our clients feeling listened to and feeling supported by their partner, whether their partner has all the right things to say at the right moment and using touch and whatever's working for them, that's great. That's an opportunity for me to back off, check out what's going on in the room. Maybe I can tend to some other things, make sure waters are filled and that there's food. And because food is love too. You need to eat when you're in labor, people. You need to eat. You need to like be hydrated. That's how I show my love, is making sure that your needs are taken care of and that the door is closed and the curtains are closed for your privacy, because you're doing one of the most intimate things in your entire life. When you think about the things that you do in private, behind closed doors, whether in your bedroom, your bathroom, wherever, we usually have privacy. Birth requires privacy because you can't amp up that oxytocin and all of that love if you feel like everybody's watching you. And think about how animals are when we're like creeping in on their territory. They get defensive.
Yeah.
They run away. Your natural instinct in labor is to pack up and get out of there.
When you feel, when you feel
scared and stressed, like that's not love.
And that's like, I think it's important to really think about, like we kind of live in a culture where we're really cerebral and we really function, we really live in our frontal lobes and we're in our upstairs brain, which is reasoning and thought. But when you're in labor, and it's labor, it's not this kind of, like you said, we have it wrong in our Hollywood depictions. It's not this kind of unrelenting agony,
like sweaty.
I mean, it's sweaty, but
like the whole time.
But it's like, it's work. That's why we call it labor. It's work.
Right.
It's hard work. But like, I think that it's just really important to have this kind of, this other story about birth, that it's hard work, but you can do it. And you're really functioning more in your low brain, your downstairs brain, And can you tell I'm anyone who's read The Whole Brain Child knows I'm reading it right now because I'm using upstairs and downstairs brain. But it's a great book.
So sweaty.
But I think like we're really functioning in more of our kind of primal brain, and birth goes better when we can kind of feel safe enough to really let go of our frontal lobe, let go of our analytical brain, and get into some people call it our lizard brain, or our anime calls it our monkey brain. Let your monkey do it.
Yeah.
Which I think like it's really important when you have to feel safe enough to be able to let go of your analytical thinking and get into that more primal spot. And so like feeling safe, feeling loved can really help you get into that space. And then it also helps your labor go more smoothly because you've got those contractions chugging along,
And they're coming at a nice rate, and they're doing exactly what they should be doing with how long they stick around for, and not big, huge gaps in between, because that's when care providers are typically, if you're on the monitor, and everybody's really watching out for the greater good. Okay, let's make that absolutely clear. But what's great about professional birth support is that we have a little different perspective, and we also have some different ideas where we can help you maybe find a way to keep labor going in the direction that you would like it to go. And again, feeling safe is the way you can do that. I usually use the term right brain, left brain. So we need to access that side, which is the right brain, where you're more artistic, you're more creative. And I know that that's not for everybody also, but think about those moments in your life where you've truly just been able to let loose. Maybe it's at a concert and you're dancing and you just completely give in to the music. That's why I'm always encouraging our clients, like, turn the music up in your house, dance around, let yourself just go. And that's that artistic, free side.
Yeah, your kind of feeling side.
Yeah, the left side is our number side, and we're watching the clock and we're looking at things and we're tallying everything up. You don't need to be worried about that when you're in labor. Well, again, good birth support really helps you to translate a lot of what's going on, especially in the hospital, but also just what's going on with your body. Yeah. Because we will tense up, even if we have all the education and we know that I'm going to feel loved in labor. Even right there, it gets too much. Just know that it'll happen.
Yeah.
And you can speak up and say, this is what I need.
Yeah.
Or I don't feel like I'm being listened to. We need to get all on the same page. Those things are love.
Yeah.
Love has all different meanings.
Yeah. And that's sometimes too why during labor we'll often say hey, snuggle with your partner if that feels okay to you. Obviously, if it doesn't feel okay, don't do it.
Don't do it.
But snuggle up with your partner, really that connection can really facilitate labor going along. And, and also once baby's here, oxytocin still has work to do. It has a role in breastfeeding, and also immediately after baby's born, we get this kind of another rush of oxytocin because we see our baby, we're bonding with our baby. If baby's able to be on your chest, that is huge, because then baby is going to be upping your oxytocin level, which also then helps your uterus contract down, because after baby's born, you have this kind of stretched out uterus, and it has to shrink down pretty quickly.
Always amazed at how fast it happens.
I know. And so holding your baby helps. And also if you can get baby at the breast, that is also going to help, because that nipple stretching, which is a horrible phrase. I hate that phrase.
I'm so happy somebody ever said that to me.
I know, but my kids. But it's just when baby is latched on, the nipple is just stretched to the back of their mouth. It's the most comfortable way to nurse. But
birth is all about stretching. Just keep that in mind. There's a lot of things that stretch in as they're supposed to.
Yes, the way they're supposed to. But,
nipples too.
Yeah. So, but that nipple stimulation, we'll say stimulation, it actually triggers more oxytocin release, which will also then help your uterus to shrink down. That's kind of why often, especially in a hospital, we'll be like, oh, let's just get baby on the breast, because they can help shrink that uterus, which then prevents excess bleeding, So it's really, baby's helping you out, which is great. They come out and they're already helping.
Put them to work.
Such a helpful little being.
It's the least they can do. Stretch your nipples.
Really. And also that oxytocin, when you're nursing, triggers a milk letdown. And so, it's kind of, with nursing parents, I see this a lot where they kind of like, it's a stressful moment, baby's fussing, and they kind of sit down and put baby to breast, and it's like everybody is just like, oh, okay, phew, and just, it's this like, you're snuggled up with your little one, it's this rush of oxytocin. It gets a big letdown for baby, so they get a nice belly full of milk. Everybody just chills out. It's a wonderful thing when it works that way. That's how it usually works. So.
Right. It is a big flood of emotions. I can remember feeling that a lot of times, and then sometimes there was, frustration too, but we just kept at it, and you'll just have to wait for our breastfeeding Doula Jam, which will come next week or the week after. I'm not sure.
I don't remember. We're trying to get on a schedule, but I think I want to actually, what I want to talk about when we do our breastfeeding one is how you don't have to love breastfeeding. Like, I feel like that's so important. So
that's a little teaser. We can do that next week, and then do postpartum the week after. We're just trying to get into a little bit of a routine and
planning.
do some planning. So really, that's the long and the short. Really the short, because there's just so much to talk about when it comes to birth. And what love does have to do with it. So maybe go put that song on, turn it up.
I'm trying hard not to sing it. I'm trying so hard.
Me too. And you don't want to hear me sing at all. It will totally turn you off.
It will just, it's not going to promote oxytocin if we start singing.
So listen to Tina. Okay. And tap into that. If you are pregnant right now, maybe do some thinking about how you want to feel loved and how you can incorporate that feeling of love into your labor, the rest of your pregnancy.
Yeah.
Your labor, and the actual giving birth to your baby. Think about that. Reach out to us if you're feeling a little stuck, or if maybe, and sometimes there's a disconnect between you and your partner, and working with a doula definitely helps you to make that connection. We're not a stranger in the room. We actually become a really close part of your circle.
Yeah.
And it's really the care providers that you don't know, and we want to help facilitate everybody being on the same page and you feeling all of that love. So do a little soul searching if you don't mind, even if you happen to be more of a left brain person, try to get into that right brain. Do a little artwork, maybe start with a squiggle on a page and see where it takes you, and who knows, you could crack open a whole new side to yourself. And we love hearing from everybody. We consider you all family, whether we're tending to you in person or here with you in this form. So don't hesitate to reach out or ask us questions. We'll help you find your answers, and hopefully you find love.
Yes.
When you're with us.
In whatever form. And I think that's the practical takeaway is think about, what is it that makes you feel safe? What is it that makes you feel loved? How can your birth team support that and facilitate that during your labor? And even if you're breastfeeding, just to kind of think how can I facilitate that when I'm nursing? How can I facilitate that with my baby? So I think it's just, there's a nice kind of practical takeaway there too. So if you liked this video and you want to work with us, or you want to just reach out and say hi, we love making new friends. You can find us at risingtidewomen.com. You can find us here on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well, and I often post a lot of like behind the scenes pictures. I actually took a picture before we did this video of this ridiculous setup that we have going on, just so you can get an idea of what it looks like in my living room right now. So, you know, come hang out with us. We have a good time.
We do. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.